Hello, we're going to go through Algebra 1, Q4, Identify Functions in IXL. In order for a relationship to be a function, each domain value must go to exactly one output. In other words, one arrow or one line must lead away from every single domain. So yes, that is absolutely a function. Again, for it to be a function, for a relation to be a function, every 17 can only go to 1, but there's only one 17. There's only one 18 that goes to a 2. There's only one 10. So as long as I don't see any repetition in the x values, it is a function. Again, I'm going to look down the x values and see if I can find any repetition. And there is a repetition. There's a repetition of 3. 3 goes to 13. 3 also goes to 15. That cannot happen in a function. So no, that is not a function. Again, I'm going to look down the x values. I have a 7 that goes to a negative 11, and I have another 7 that goes to 8. I have two x values that are the same that go to different y's. That is not a function. Again, I'm going to look at the arrows, make sure there's only one line or arrow leading away from each input, each domain, and there is. So that's a function. Again, I'm going to look to make sure that every x can only have one point above or below it. But this x value of negative 2 has a point above and below. There's 2 points lined up vertically. That cannot happen in a function. Again, this 20 has one arrow going out, one arrow going out, one arrow going out, one arrow going out. Yes, that is a function. Every domain has only one x. Again, there's no points lined up above this one, no points above or below this one, so there's no points lined up vertically. That is a function. Again, I'm going to look down the x values, negative 1, 8, 20. There's no repetition in x, so yes, that is a function. You notice how I don't even hardly look at the y's. It always relates to the x values. So I'm looking down the x values. I have an 18 and another 18. This 18 goes to 20, this 18 goes to 9. That's not a function. I have two 0 values. This 0 goes to 2 and this 0 goes to 15. That's not a function. I have two 3 values. 3 goes to negative 13, 3 goes to 11. That's not a function. I don't see any repetition in x, so that is my function. Again, I don't want to see any points lined up. It makes it not a function if points are lined up. If points are lined up vertically, it's not a function. I don't see any points lined up, so this one is definitely a function, but I see 2 points lined up on that one, so that is not a function. Again, looking at the x values, I see a repetition in 20, so that's not a function because it goes to different y's. See a repetition in x, it's not a function. I don't see any repetition in x. Every x is unique, so that's a function. I see a repetition in x, that's not a function. See this 17 down here, it goes out to two different y values, that's not a function. This 17 goes out to 2. This 17 branches out. We cannot have any branching away, 2 branches going from an x. This one is the only one that's a function because each input has only one arrow going away. I see a repetition in x, it's not a function. I see a repetition in x, it's not a function. I see a repetition in x, it's not a function. This is the only function. See an x that has 2 lines going away from it, it's not a function. This definitely is a function. 2 lines going out, 2 lines going out, those are not functions. Again, I'm looking for vertical points, lines or points that are lined up vertically. I don't see any points lined up vertically on that top graph, so that's a function. But I see points lined up vertically. That means this x value has a y value of 2 and a y value of negative 2. That can't happen. Points lined up vertically ruin the, disobey the rule of a function. Function means every x can only have one y. And since I have two 15s going to different y's, it's not a function. Oh no, I see a repetition of 2. 2 goes to 1, 2 goes to negative 4, not a function. I don't see any repetition in x. But I see a repetition in x in this one. 17 goes to negative 15, 17 goes to a different number. Again, looking down I see repetition in x, it's not a function. I see repetition in x, it's not a function. I don't see any repetition in x. No, I do, 2 and a 2. 2 goes to 19, 2 goes to 11. It's not a function. I don't see any repetition in x. 8, negative 50. I don't see any repetition in x. That is a function. I see repetition in x, 2 13s going to different y values. See a repetition in x. See a couple repetitions in x. That's definitely not a function. Again, see repetition in x. It's not a function. Again, I don't see any domain value having 2 lines leading away from it, so that's a function. Again, everyone has only 1 line leading away from it. It's a function. Every domain value has 1 line leading away from it. It's a function. Oh, this 9 has 2. That's not a function. 2 points lined up vertically. It's not a function. I don't see any points lined up vertically, so that's a function. Lots of points lined up vertically, not a function. I don't see any points lined up vertically on that graph, so it's a function. I don't see any points lined up vertically. It's a function. I don't see any points lined up vertically. That's a function. This has points lined up vertically. It's not a function. This doesn't have any points lined up vertically. That's a function. Looking for repetition in x. I don't see it. That's a function. I see repetition in x right off the bat, not a function. 16, 12, 8, 8. No repetition in x. That's a function. Negative 1 goes to 20, goes to 14. That's not a function. First graph has 2 points lined up vertically, not a function. I don't see any points lined up vertically. It's a function. I don't see any points lined up vertically, so that's a function. I see 2 points lined up vertically. That's not a function. 2 11s going to different y's. It's not a function. 2 zeros, not a function. I don't see any repetition in x. That's a function. 13, 3, 6, 7, 9, 7. No repetition in x. That's a function. I see this 16 has 2 lines branching out from it. It's not a function. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Only 1 line leaving each domain value, so that's a function. Ooh, we got 2 leaving this 14. That's not a function. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that is a function. 3 3s. It's definitely not a function. Negative 6, 8, 9. No repetition in x. That's a function. 2 4s. 4 goes to 14. 4 goes to 9. That's not a function. 2 2s. Go to different values. That's not a function. This 11 breaks off to 2 different y values, not a function. This 5 breaks off the 2 different y values, not a function. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's a function. This 2 breaks off the 2 different y values. That's not a function. Hopefully that helps you understand this lesson a little better. If you have questions, bring them to class.